and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Leigh Brown. You're listening to and or watching Crazy Shit in Real Estate. If you're watching, welcome to the new side because we're trying to be hip and cool and add the video piece because y'all said you needed it. And I'm trying to copy the favorite podcast I have, which if you want to know what I listen to, I do listen to Joe Rogan because it's something else. And I love Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino is the best insight on politics, and I love him. And so the video always adds another level. But I won't repeat myself as much as they tend to because I'm a girl and I'm very more efficient. So if you're a viewer, there's 3.5 years worth of episodes on Apple, iTunes, and Spotify, and Stitcher, and wherever you get your podcast. And if you're a listener, I'm so glad to have you back, and you can come look at us on YouTube if you want to.
Welcome to Crazy Shit in Real Estate, a weekly podcast where I walk you through some of the wildest, most unbelievable stories you'll hear from the world of real estate. If you like real estate and you love crazy, this is the podcast for you.
So with that being said, we've got a guest today, and we're recording this, of course, in the dead of winter, and I'm excited because in North Carolina today, at least 7 flakes of snow just came down. Instagram feed is on fire. I might look out the window on occasion to see if it's still snowing. It is not, and it's probably not going to snow anymore, but I saw it. I did see it. But I've got Todd Urbanski with us, and he has real snow outside his window, and I can actually see it through the camera because he's in Minnesota. So Todd, welcome to the show. Tell our listeners a little bit about you, where you're located, how long you've been in real estate, any little background tidbits you'd like to share.
Hi, Leigh. Thanks for having me on to start with. So I'm up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in Wayzata, Minnesota, actually, which is just a small suburb about 10 miles west of Minneapolis. I've been in this crazy business now for about 20 years. In fact, in November, I celebrated my 20th birthday. Let's see.
This past November or the one
this past November.
So you're over 20 years in real estate then?
Well, I am a savvy veteran at this point, yes. And as far as weather goes right now, we have about 18 to 24 inches of snow on the ground. It's currently snowing. It's a balmy 32. And I say that with all seriousness for Minnesota in January, 32 degrees. This is t-shirt weather right now.
Yeah, it's 38 here, and that's 4 layers plus some long johns and those little hot hand things.
Sure, you got the hand warmers going. I get it. I
love
get it.
Hand warmers. Yep. Who invented those? Minnesotan?
I think it came somebody further north than us. Yeah.
A Canadian.
We are actually going on vacation tomorrow. And unlike 98% of the other Minnesotans that go to warm tropical destinations, we're heading out to the mountains to go skiing in Colorado tomorrow for a week. So we're super excited about that.
Well, I'm jealous, but I'm actually really proud of you for being the only realtor I know in current times who's going on a vacation because everybody else says they're so busy they never go, but that's a different discussion. So, Todd, 20 years in real estate. And in addition to selling a lot of houses, you have actually done a ton of work as a volunteer to make other realtors' lives better. So first of all, thank you for investing your time that way. And in your tenure in real estate, when I ask you about your crazy story that you'd like to share, it can come from a lot of different perspectives because you've served as a sales agent, you serve as a manager and a trainer and coach now to help make other realtors stronger. And you've also served in volunteer life doing the unpaid, unappreciated work, frankly, of taking care of all the neighbors in your community. So if somebody were to ask you, hey, Todd, what did you, what have you seen in real estate? What story is your go-to? What has happened to you?
You know, I've been thinking about this a lot since I was invited to come onto your podcast. And again, thank you for having me on. And so I jotted down a couple of notes here, just some of the things that I've seen in real estate, both from mostly on the sales side, but then I kind of weave it into our training side and development side, and even into a little bit of our association stuff. If you were to say, what's the one thing that I go back into memory and remember that was kind of a unique experience for me, I was door knocking once on expired listings, and it was in an area that I lived in at the time. And I used to be a volunteer firefighter. I did that for about 17 years, and at this time I was active with that. And so I'm knocking on this door in a house that's in our fire area, and it's an expired listing. And we sit down and we meet and we talk for about an hour and a half. And at the end of the discussion, she goes, you know, I like what you're saying, but I'm trying to save money here, so I'm gonna go with another broker, discount broker at that point. And I said, you know what, that's great. Good luck to you. And went home. And I was home, I think I was having dinner, and it was about 2 hours later. And at that time, on the fire department, we all carried pagers. My pager went off. And it came in for a gas leak. And the address sounded really, really familiar. And so we get in the trucks, we go out there, and the discount broker that was listing their house was putting a sign in their front yard with a post hole digger.
No,
and,
you're not going to say this.
And hit the gas line. And it wasn't just a little feeder line that went to the house. It was the line that went to the whole neighborhood. So it was a 4-inch gas line.
You can't be serious.
And when those leak, they scream. I mean, it's just natural gas coming out of the hole. You can see the gas coming out of the hole, let alone it. You can hear it from a half mile away. So now we're evacuating the whole neighborhood. And I didn't get the listing, but I did make sure that the customer saw that I was there. And, you know, sometimes you do get what you pay for in this business. Am I right?
I mean, a friend of mine doesn't like to say, have a good day. She likes to say, have the day you deserve. And I think you wanted to say to her, have the real estate agent you deserve.
Exactly. It was not, it's a sad story, sort of.
I mean, it's crazy.
When you pull up in the truck and you see the realtor standing in the road a half block away, his trunk is still open, the post hole digger is still in the hole, and you immediately put 2 and 2 together to figure out what happened there.
So who made the call to the gas station? Did the agent say, oh, shit, I've hit the gas line? Did he call? Was he honorable like that?
No, I think that call came in from the neighbor across the street, actually.
Did he own it and apologize and say, I'm so sorry?
It wasn't my role to go talk to him at that point, so I avoided him, but I made sure the homeowner knew that I was there.
Man, what if somebody had walked outside their house and lit up a cigarette? Would the whole neighborhood have gone up, Todd?
Probably not, but it could have been interesting. Let's put it there. If their car would have been running, it would have been very interesting there. You never know.
What time of year was this happening? Was it like the cold
This was
time
summer.
in Minnesota?
No, it was summertime. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, it's just horrifying to think about. And that's why realtors who are listening, would y'all please be careful putting signs in yards? Although I don't know if we ought to call 311 before we put in a yard sign, but I guess maybe some of us ought to, depending on how deep your stakes go.
We have a program here called Go for State One Call, and we call them when they'll come out and mark where the gas lines are and the power lines and that type of stuff when we do that kind of stuff. Another story I have, I was representing new construction at one time, and we had built a home for my buyers. I represented both the seller and the buyer on this one. And we were through the framing stage. The plumbers had just finished up. The heating guys had just finished up. It was insulated, so they were putting the sheetrock on the next day. Somebody went into the house that evening and took a little drill and drilled 23 tiny little holes in all the copper water pipes scattered throughout the house. And so now they put the sheetrock up. We put the trim in, the cabinets go in, the paint goes in, the carpet goes in. We turn the water back on 7 days before closing, and all of a sudden there's a leak. And so one leak is just a leak. They dig into the wall and they plug the leak, and then there's another leak, and there's another leak. And finally we figured out what was going on. So we ended up having to obviously shut all the water off, drain the lines, and then we pump the system up with air, and we go through the house listening for the whistle of the air coming through the water pipes. And that's where we had to cut into the wall, fix the water pipe. And at the end of the day, there were 23 small holes that somebody came in and vandalized this house on. My buyers still wanted the house, felt good about it. That was a very unique discussion to have with them. And somebody created a nightmare there. So those are some of the bad things that can happen in real estate.
So we don't know why somebody came and did it. Were they mad? Was it 23 years of marriage down the drain, or
they
got a 23 on a test, or what was it?
It could have been. My guess is I think the builder didn't make one of his former clients very happy, and that client decided to mess with him a little bit. We could never prove it, but but that's what my guess is.
Honestly, wouldn't you just steal the copper pipes like everybody else does?
This was before people were stealing copper pipes, though.
Not to condone it, people. I'm not suggesting that you steal copper pipes, and luckily that seems to have balanced out a little bit. But
and then
I think the craziest part of that situation, Todd, is that the buyers wanted to go forward. They're like, no big deal. It's just some plumbing.
Well, that was my concern too. And then you kind of wonder, all right, if we didn't, this is what we know. We know what we found. What are the things that we didn't find in this house? But they were comfortable. In fact, they still live in the house today, and that's probably 15 years ago now. So they're very happy. Other things I've seen, I was showing houses last fall, and a little house over in St. Paul had a beautiful lime green bathroom, and in the lower level, that had a homemade bidet in it.
How do you home make a bidet? I've never seen that on Pinterest, frankly. I've looked for it and haven't seen it.
If I still have the photo, I'll send it to you.
Please do. We'll include it in the show notes for this episode, friends, so you can see the homemade bidet.
This was a pretty much a standalone little half bath in the basement, probably built in the 50s or so. And they had taken a kitchen sprayer like you have on your kitchen sink and ran it off the water feed to the toilet. And so they had a standard matching toilet, green matching toilet, with a hose sprayer, kitchen faucet sprayer, mounted to the wall next to the toilet, so that when they were done, they would just grab it off and do what they do. Yeah.
That was your listing or your buyer? That
was my buyer. They did not buy that house.
Oh, yeah. Shocking.
Not really. They were a little uncomfortable with that one. So, but speaking of lime green too, I had a seller once who had a 70s built 3-level, and it had the lime green carpet in there. It was in perfect condition, plastic on the couches. Do you know what Hunter orange? You're familiar with that color, right?
Yes, we call it safety orange here.
Safety orange, okay. Orange. We call it Hunter orange here. Yep.
Those right here.
That's it. Yes.
I got that at a clay shoot.
I was gonna say, I've got a lot of stuff in my office. I don't have any clay pigeons in here though.
You don't? And they put it on a necklace for me so I could wear it.
Oh, that's even better. It really makes your eyes shine.
Right? See, everybody should have
absolutely. A clay The orange was the color of her side chairs, though. And so we talked.
I hope she got them on clearance.
No. These were original.
They were custom.
She was very attached to this house. Loved her finishes. We got that house to the point where somebody actually came in and offered to buy it with the lime green carpet, with the burnt orange chairs. And keep in mind that the kitchen matched the carpet and the burnt orange chairs too, right?
Brady Bunch. This is all Brady Bunch colors.
This thing all was coming together except for she had a pool table. The buyers really wanted the pool table. She would not let go of the pool table. Now, this pool table was worth maybe $25, right? But it was, and so the sad part of this story is her husband had passed on, and her husband and her son used to play pool, and she had this memory of the pool table then, right? So we never put that sale together because she would not part with the pool table. And I knew her son really well. He did not want the pool table. He wanted absolutely nothing to do with the pool table. So she ended up
attachment to it.
She did. She ended up living in that house for probably another 10 years or so. And then I think the pool table just fell apart, and then she could sell.
Wow. I mean, the personal property has a life of its own. And
it does.
Some realtors forget that when they just make assumptions that it's just X, it's just Y. Yeah, but to them, it means something much deeper. There's a whole story to it.
Yep. One other story I'll share with you, and I think this goes to show the service that I'm willing to do for my clients. So I'm out showing houses, and we've looked at probably 10 different homes, and every house that they walk into, they like it, but there's something that it's missing. And so we talk about what that is that's missing. It's the open floor plan. It's a bigger kitchen. It's hardwood floors. And so at the end of the night, I said, I think I know which house you want to buy. I said, it's not on the market right now. but I think it's going to fit you perfectly. Would you be interested in seeing it? And they said, absolutely, we'd love to see it. And I said, in fact, it's right in the neighborhood here. So I got on the phone, I called my wife, and I said, honey, I'm with 2 buyers right now, and I think they want to buy our house.
You need to move out of the house for just a second so I can sell it out from under us. No problem.
And my wife and I had discussed, we hadn't made a decision, but we had discussed maybe moving the next couple of years. And I said, is the house in pretty good shape right now? Could I bring somebody through? And are you okay with that? And she said, yeah, the house is in pretty good shape. Bring them through. So we drove over, got them in the house. We walked through the house. They absolutely loved it. We sat down at the kitchen table, my kitchen table. They wanted to buy the house, so we wrote a purchase agreement. And so I'd write the purchase agreement. We'd go over all the details. Then my wife and I would go upstairs, and they'd sit at the kitchen table discussing what they want to do next. Then I'd come down, and we'd negotiate a little bit more, and then I'd go back up. And so we sold the house that night. They still live there. My wife and I, that was 2006. And so my wife and I built a brand new house then in 2006, lived in an apartment for about 6 months there. If you remember 2006 a little bit, most of us try to forget it, but the day we bought or closed on our new house is the day the market started to change.
Of course.
Dropped dramatically at that point. And of course, we're in the business, so we do things very effectively, very efficiently, and we have all the knowledge. We know what's going to happen in our crystal balls. We built the biggest, nicest house in the neighborhood, and we took the biggest, nicest bath in the neighborhood about 8 years later.
But
it's all good.
You enjoy the 8 years you lived there, because I think that's what effective realtors bring to it. Of it's not always about the dollars as much as it is about the house.
Absolutely, absolutely. We learn, and now I can share that story with clients too, and they love it.
Yeah, because you're like, look, if I could have predicted the market, let me tell you what we would have done differently.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So Todd, if anybody's looking for a professional realtor in Minnesota, because since you've been a president of a large local board, you've got people all over the place. How can they find you and your amazing team of realtors?
Well, they can email me at Todd, Todd, at Faz, F-A-Z, Z as in zebra, Homes, HOMES.com, or my cell phone is 612-865-3644, and my brokerage is Fazadin Realtors.
And you notice that Todd is a rule follower of the Minnesota Real Estate Commission, and he was careful to disclose his brokerage affiliation, which I think is pretty cool and a sign of a good realtor who's professional when they take the laws and regulations seriously. So if you need anything from Todd, all of his contact information, of course, in the show notes for this episode. If you are listening on iTunes or Stitcher, hit subscribe, check your show notes out, give us 5 stars because you love the show. And if you're watching us on YouTube, go back and listen to the old episodes, but leave us a comment, hit subscribe, give us 5 stars. Todd, thank you for being on the show, and I'm excited to see what happens next. And by the way, if you're a listener out there who needs to bring in a really fun real estate instructor for your company, Todd's got some really good impact on your newer realtors that you'll appreciate. So reach out to him for lots of different things regarding real estate. But I appreciate all that you're doing and all that you will do.
Perfect. Thank you, Leigh. Thanks for having me on.
All right, guys, if you want to be on the show, you know where to find me, at Leigh Brown on Twitter if you enjoy the political dumpster fire. If you don't, hit me up here, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all the happy places. Let me know if you'd like to appear. In the meantime, enjoy it. Go, houses are great fun. Love on your realtors, and we'll see you next time.
If you are listening to this episode and you need to tell us something about your crazy life in or around real estate, then tweet me at Leigh Brown or reach me on any of the social networks. That's if you're a broker, realtor, investor, inspector, lender, or just a regular normal human being who happens to have dealt in real estate. Subscribe for more episodes, and as always, we are thrilled that you joined us for some crazy shit in real estate. See you next time.